We all need advice or help of some sort on almost every important thing in our lives. This automatically applies to the students because deciding to take on a degree course and going through with that is a life-changing experience, and it takes many upcoming years of your life. Same is the case for biotech students. We also need useful advice and right directions, especially in the beginning, regarding our field, mostly from the people who have gone through something similar and have some sort of experience in this or a similar field. So here are some basic, very general, non-specific and very useful advice and tips for students who have started or are about to start their journey in biotechnology. Hey guys, and welcome to the Biotech channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about some useful tips for starters in the biotech world. So let's get directly into it. First of all, set up standards for yourself from early on. Think it through and make up your mind on how far along you want to go into the field and how would you want to finish your study and how would you want to enter the industry. Keep in mind, it would never be exactly as you planned or thought it would be, but if you work hard with consistency on your goals and targets all the way through, you will come real close to not necessarily what you wanted, but what you need in the field. But regardless of whether it's good or bad, you will have come very far along from the point you started. And that at the end makes the difference. And something very important, it will most probably take longer and will be harder at times than you expected, like almost everything in life, but it's not impossible. You just have to be prepared to invest the time if needed, the extra time if needed. Try to understand and build your basics as strong as possible, especially in mathematics and chemistry. Topics like differential equations, integrals, logarithms will always be there. So it is better if you have the basic understanding of these topics in mathematics that you usually learn in school, and some basic knowledge of chemistry, mostly the understanding of organic chemistry and topics like bonding of molecules, stoichiometry and types of reactions, and chemistry of alkenes and alkanes. These sorts of topics that you already know from your school, mostly from 11th and 12th grade, they will always be there, and it will really help you if you know something about it. I mean, you don't have to know everything, but the basic understanding of these topics is very important. And it's not just organic chemistry. These topics will be very useful in other subjects like biochemistry. Mostly the students of biotechnology have a pretty decent background of biology, so they don't focus that much on chemistry and mathematics because they think that biotechnology is more biology than everything else. But I don't think that's always true. In most of the cases, there's more chemistry and mathematics in biotechnology than biology. So I would suggest that you build better basics in mathematics and chemistry. That will help you a lot if you do that before going into a degree course. After you're immatriculated, you will come to know that there are many seminars and conferences, especially in that first month or so of your degree course, regarding the degree program itself, the industry, job perspective, and there will be many representatives from different companies and that have their workshops and everything. So if you go to these sorts of conferences and seminars, you will be able to collect information on almost every aspect of the field. So I would suggest that you go and you take part in these sorts of seminars. You can always talk to your seniors or the student organizations of your department or the administration about almost anything. Whether it's about a subject, internships, or anything regarding the field, just go to the people and talk to them and ask questions. The point is to clear out confusions and to understand the field. So in order to do that, you just have to initiate, you just have to trust yourself, go in there and ask your questions. Once you've started your degree course, I would suggest that you familiarize yourself with the university facilities for students and use them in a productive way, like the online learning systems, the learning platforms, the university library, and the communication platforms that the university or the third parties have to offer. You can also build contacts by contacting students from other universities and You can go to their web pages and look if they have like, I don't know, like some sort of online platform that you can ask questions or try to build some contacts. That always comes in handy. So this one's very important in my point of view. After you've started your degree course, especially your bachelor's, don't compare your knowledge or understanding of things with that of others. Many of the biotech students have different backgrounds, and every person has his or her own strong points. Like person X is good in mathematics and person Y is good in organic chemistry. So they are good in those subjects, but that doesn't mean that you have to be as good in that module as that person, because you have your own strong points and you have your own goals. You don't compare your goals to of that person. I mean, yes, it helps if you're as good in every module and have good grades, because that will improve your overall grade. But don't try to compare yourself with someone who has, I don't know, who has had an internship in a chemical company. So that person knows a little bit more than you, or someone has focused more on mathematical topics in school and you didn't have that opportunity. So what I'm trying to say is, you can try to be better in every module, but if you're not, don't just force it on yourself, and don't make it a burden on you, and just focus on yourself. Maybe you can't have good grades in all the modules, and maybe that's okay. Just don't try to stress out about these sorts of things. Maybe you have your own strong points, and maybe you don't have the best grades, but maybe you're better at practical work in a lab than that person. So you don't know. And besides, each person has a different goal, like which biotech industry you want to work in and which department you want to work in. There are many different departments within a biotech industry or a biotech company that you can go in and start your career. And more importantly, how far are you willing to go academically? Do you want to do your master's and that's it, or do you want to have a doctorate degree? So focus on your own goals and find out your own way of doing things as you go along. Just try not to get discouraged along the way. And it mostly comes from comparing yourself with others. I just remembered a quote. I don't know, I read it on Instagram or I don't know, whatever. But the quote said, "You cannot measure your success with someone else's ruler." Pretty powerful and worth remembering in my view. Don't let yourself get discouraged by little setbacks. Like, you might fail sometimes, and sometimes you don't feel like you are getting ahead. But that's the part of everything, in my opinion. And when you have to deal with such a wide spectrum of topics in biotechnology, it could be a little bit overwhelming sometimes, and you don't know how to get through. The best thing to do in this case is get your mind off for a little bit, take some time off and go back at it with more focus, more energy, and just work harder. In my experience, that has worked more often than not. And by taking time, I mean go to vacation, go to your family, and do something fun for yourself. So keep at it, try to get through it in your own way, and even if it takes longer than you anticipated, it's better to finish something later than to give up and not finish it at all. It's always helpful to make and preserve notes from early on. Most of the topics that you take notes on during your studies, especially in the beginning, you will probably need to look into again later on when you're in higher semesters, because the modules in the beginning build up your basis and make you ready for higher semesters. Like, if you have a better knowledge of organic chemistry, that'll help you in biochemistry later on, or if you have like a better understanding of physical chemistry, you will be able to get through physical biochemistry very easily. And in my experience, during your internship, you will need some of your notes that you have taken from early semesters, because that's how it is. You need to know the basics in order to go forward. So that happened to me in my internship, and that helped me a lot. But you can always Google and find answers on any topic you want. In my opinion, it's better to take your own notes, because That's more productive, and you tend to remember the thing that you have written yourself. So that's just been my experience. You can do what's best for you and what's, productive and efficient for you. There are other useful things that you should work on besides your typical degree course, like beside your modules and the topics that you need to learn for your exams, like skill sets that are required in the industry, like a little bit of programming, or acquiring some technical expertise on the devices that are used in the lab, like GC, HPLC, or IC machines and devices. Or it could be as simple as mastering Office, MS Office skills, more importantly and specifically Excel and MS Word. And presentation and communication skills will always come in handy if you acquire them from early on. And this advice, I recommend you do it constantly. Keep yourself updated on the industry that you're interested in. You have to look into what's going on in the industry to find out what you need to do to get into the industry and to go to that point that you want to go to. And learn the skill sets that are required more often than not in the job offers that you might apply into in the future. So just a tip from my side, go search for the jobs. I mean, you can search like biotech jobs in, I don't know, company X, Johnson & Johnson, let's say, and go there and look into the job offers for you that are suitable for you, and look into the job description. In every job description, they always mention skill sets that are required for that job. And if that job offer is suitable for you and in the future at some point, I would recommend you start investing some time into those skill sets and learn them, so that after 3 or 4 years, whenever you're finished with the degree course and you're ready to apply to that company, you already have acquired the skill sets and you can go easily into. Just a tip from my side, you can make it a hobby, or you can, on the weekend, like spend 1 hour on MS Office and just invest some time in. Studies in biotechnology can be frustrating at times. I would suggest you have some patience and be ready to have the emotional strength to do a little bit less but right at times if needed. And remember, it's not straight up biology. It's an interdisciplinary field, which means it's a mixture of all the other disciplines like chemistry, maths, and sometimes informatics. It's kind of like a salad, a mixture of many different subjects. And some of those subjects might be a little bit harder for you. So you need to be ready to invest in more time if needed, which may lead you to finish later than your friend. But what you shouldn't do, you should not stress on it to a point that you get frustrated or depressed, especially if you have to work while studying or have other personal issues. So just try to finish it. If it takes longer, then it takes longer. You can't do much about it. It's better to finish a little bit later than to stress yourself to a point that you damage your mental health. I keep repeating this point because it can be dangerous. It might take you into a pitfall, which can be pretty hard, to a point that you can't recover. So you just have to get going and not stop working on it. And in the end, what matters is that you finished what you started and you got what you wanted. So that's all that matters. So that's been it for this video. I know I haven't uploaded in a while, but there's a lot of other stuff going on, so sometimes it's just not possible to make videos. But as I already have said in my other videos, I will keep making videos no matter how inconsistent I am right now. I want to thank you all for subscribing and staying subscribed this whole time. I really appreciate that. And if you have any questions, just comment them down below. I will try to answer your questions as soon as I can. So take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.